name's Clive Bishop. I'm one of the external experts for the CBI, which is a division of the Dutch Foreign Office, who run a international development program in tourism in 37 countries around the world.
Okay, perhaps people are a touch unfamiliar with your work, so you could just talk us through exactly the ambitions of the organisation, and then we can perhaps take it from there.
Okay, certainly. I mean, the CBI is, like I said, is part of the Dutch Foreign Office, and every government has their development programs. The Dutch work on an aid development program that provides training and knowledge transfer. And so what they decided to do back in the 70s is to actually promote tourism. Up till 2008, obviously that was very much focused on the Dutch market, but then they made a strategic decision to open up the other European markets so that the companies that they train and help to develop in these overseas locations in Latin America, Africa and Asia have the advantage of then having resources in the UK, Germany, France, Spain and Scandinavian countries. So from 2008, this is where you've got a British national, a German national working for the Dutch government. This program now has developed so that we have 285 companies on this program from 37 developing countries around the world. We train them in business processes, marketing, market access, so how do they get to the tour operators here in Europe, and various other sort of financial and administration processes, which does include the fact that before they even start, they go through a selection process and a European audit so that they are at least some way to being financially secure and they know the processes they've got to go through. Obviously, part of this, and the reason we're at the World Travel Market at this moment and will be in other trade shows in Europe in the future, is that we help them develop their programs so that we train them to make appointments. And the extent it's got with the World Travel Market is that now we are probably the biggest facilitator of exhibitors at this show this year, because we've got 75 exhibitors that we've facilitated, we've sponsored to actually be at the show.
How about moving forward? Are you looking to expand the program into new developing countries, or is it a matter of encouraging new organisations to join the program?
The current program is now in due process and will not finish till December 2013. The criteria for which countries and which companies are involved largely stems from the government, the national Dutch government's policy. So what will happen is at some stage in 2012 we will start to get a list of countries that the Dutch government have assigned a priority for development in any shape or form. What we start to do then is to look at those countries that need, we basically prioritise them. Okay, so if there is a country that receives aid on a manufacturing side, but they could well be a very high touristic based country anyway, we will actually put a lower priority and focus on those that we can see we can give the best development. Once those countries are assigned and decided upon, we then promote the program through NGOs, BSOs, government agencies, that's both European and overseas agencies. And a typical response, like this current program, we had over 800 companies apply from all over the world. It's down to the individuals, and there's obviously further criteria that we go through before any company is selected. Those are predominantly based upon the fact that they're locally owned, so we don't get involved with companies where they are a local operation but it's owned by a foreign national, so the money effectively goes into the country and then exits again. They're always small and medium-sized organisations, and quite often they have a strong, sustainable or community-based ethos behind them.
It's a mutually beneficial system as well, isn't it? Because the countries, developing countries, are encouraged to import more from the European Union, from Holland specifically.
Well, the whole point about this one is the fact that it's all a focus on export, and it's an unusual. If you're in manufacturing, the terminology of import-export is quite well known, understood. Tourism is very much the same sort of thing. They are exporting their services or their goods, services to the European market, and vice versa. Obviously, people like tour operators in Europe are effectively importing those services. So it's all about export development to Europe. But it is the greater Europe, although it's Dutch-based, it is the greater Europe. So that does include Switzerland and some of the Scandinavian countries that technically are not within the EU arrangements. And it is very much a treasured sort of programme that people work very hard once they've been selected. They take advantage because the bottom line is it's free for them. Once they pass the criteria, they don't have to pay for any of this training. And they get free, intense training, ongoing, on a one-to-one or regional workshop basis for that long period. You know, they are active in it for a minimum of 4 years.
That's a very interesting scheme. Thank you very much for talking to Breaking Travel News.